Hi guys! I'm Madeline Harvey. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. In our lesson video today, we're going to talk about 5 ways that you can organize your mind and your time and your practice. That way you can achieve any singing goal. So if you like today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up or click that subscribe button below. I would love to see you here more often. The video that you're about to see was taken as a clip from a live voice lesson that was shot earlier today. If you want to watch the entire live, which is about 45 minutes, then I invite you to click that join button below and become a member of our channel. As a member, you'll have exclusive access to all of our lives that we do every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. So again, just click that join button below. It's only $4.99 a month. And your contribution helps to support our channel. That way we can continue to deliver awesome content for you. You ready to get started? Here we go. Hi everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. So if you've been with me for a while, you know that I love to talk about anything that pertains to practice, vocal technique, vocal expression, artistry, the whole shebang. And today I thought it would be very good to talk about how to set vocal goals and, more importantly, how to achieve them. So you can probably attest to the frustration that goes into having a goal, but also moving through the parameters of going about achieving that goal. Maybe sometimes we just lose focus because maybe we have one goal and then it changes into another. Maybe we're a little scattered about that, or maybe we don't set aside the right amount of time, or whatever the case may be. Life just gets in the way. So we're going to talk about how you can set your vocal goals and what it's going to take to actually go about achieving them. So I just want to say before we get started, if you're a new member, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so glad to have you here. We do these lives every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. We hope that you'll be able to join us, or you can watch from a future time because all of these lives are recorded. So thank you so much for being here. And also, if you're interested in learning more about your voice, check out my modules on Skillshare. We have about, many hours of lessons available on Skillshare, and more to come. So, all right, here we go. What's it going to take to actually set and achieve our vocal goals? Well, of course, I had to turn this into an acronym, but it's not my original. It's you want your goals to be SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So we're going to break each one of these down. And as we do, it's my hope that as you're listening, you can kind of run this through your particular experience. Where along this pipeline of achieving your goal have you maybe dropped the ball or just walked away entirely? Because sometimes that happens. We get very, very, very busy. So let us start with the first one. The first one is specific. So this is where you're actually going to lay out the goal itself. What do you want? Now, we have to be specific because we cannot hit a target that we don't know how to aim. But furthermore, your entire voice is behavioral. Can't say that word. It means that it's laid out within habits that you've created simply by practicing them. So if you want your voice to be consistent with you, you have to be consistent with it. The best way to do that is to be extremely specific. So let's just say, for example, we've picked a specific song. Maybe we're going to use this song towards an audition in the future, or maybe someone has asked us to sing a specific song for, let's say, a wedding or a showcase or whatever the case may be. But you have chosen your specific song, and you're going to set aside your time to work on this specific song. But not just in the song do I want you to be specific. I want you to get as specific as you possibly can. Whether that's listening to the original artist of the song, taking stock of what, let's say, you want to model, like what kind of mood or style you would like to be within that song. Be as specific as you possibly can. This is going to help categorize your focus, center your focus by purely eliminating the rest of the stuff. It's like distraction. So let's say we've got our song, and this song consists of specific notes, as songs do, called melodies. Well, that melody, we're going to tune our voice to that melody. Not only that, we're going to tune the voice within the confines of that style. And it teaches the voice to be extremely specific, because voice is behave. It's built on habits. It's built on behaviors. It can latch on to those coordinations, that mood, that style, much more quickly when you have one style, one song, rather than when you have like 15 and you're running in multiple directions. I've seen it all the time. Singers will have one song one week, and then a different song the next week, and a different song the next week, and then get really frustrated because their voice is not progressing. But the reason the voice is not progressing is because it's not anchored into anything. There's not enough consistency for anything to sort of take root. So be specific. Choose a song, choose a mood, choose a style, and then limit your practice to that specific thing. This will help you stay very, very, very focused. So our next, this is my favorite. This is where you want things to be measurable, which means you've got your song, then you're going to go through, let's say maybe it is slightly challenging, but you're going to go through and you're going to break it down into pieces, into parts. You want to use specific metrics, specific targets, like I want my tone to be a certain quality on the verse. Well, then you are going to break down just the verse. Does that make sense? So you may have to break it down, and I would really recommend this because you get so much from your voice by going slow and being consistent. So if you have a song and you've got your first line of the verse, very first line of the song, you might want to work that line the most, simply because that line sets the tone for the entire rest of the song. So you're going to work that line until you're happy with it. Then move on to the next line. Work that line until you're happy with it. But you may even need to break it down even further. So I've got a couple videos. One is how to choose the right song for your voice type, and the other is how to practice. So these may be some other things that you may want to break down as a metric. So if we're using measurable, we're looking at our song, we may want to break it down and just work on pitch. Just fine tune the pitch within the melody. And then move on to, let's say, maybe rhythm. And then work on just the rhythm. You see how we're taking all the other distractions away, and we're just getting down to that groove, that nitty-gritty of what is necessary. What does the voice need to do? How does the voice need to show up to give us results? And then the third is, if you want to break down, once you've done pitch and rhythm, then maybe tone. That way you're not punishing yourself for pitch if you're working on tone. You're only paying attention to tone. This is all about focusing your mind, right? This is going to be so good because it's going to give you that dopaminergic punch, that surge of dopamine when you've done your metric, let's say your pitch, on the first line, spot on. Good job. You feel that. And it's going to want to make you keep going, right? So then you move on to rhythm. Well done. You did that. Bang. Feel really good about yourself. You're putting those pieces together. I've seen time after time. Cue Cyndi Lauper. I've seen it over and over and over where singers just, they give up because maybe they weren't specific, or maybe they didn't know how to be measurable with their practice time. Maybe they just went and sang the song over and over and over again and then were unhappy with it. Part of the reason why singers get frustrated like this is because there's this belief that you don't have to work, you don't have to practice, or that you don't necessarily have to practice that intently or that specifically, but you do. And it is very encouraging to take all the other distractions away and just work on one metric. But define that metric, be specific, define your metric, or work on only that one metric, maybe line by line. Songs are built on line by line. And it's so good because songs also have patterns, repeatable patterns. So as you drill that line, what you're doing with your voice is it's picking up that information. It's picking up those habits, those behaviors, and it will copy and paste that over the course of your song. I personally like the measurable one the best because I really enjoy practicing with that much detail. But I think you'll get the most excited with that one because it will make you feel like you are moving towards that goal and you're meeting every metric that you set for yourself. So the third one is achievable. Now this is why I mentioned voice type, how to pick a good song for your voice type or for your skill level. Because sometimes, again, I've seen this, you've probably experienced too, I think we all have, I've definitely experienced it with myself, that I maybe chose a song that was a little bit more difficult for my current level of ability, and I got a little bummed, I got a little depressed. So I shelved it, worked on basics within my voice, and then found that once I tried the song again later on, that song became much easier because there was more of a foundation of voice that I returned to. So make sure that whatever your vocal goal is, that it is achievable. Now this is where you have to have a little bit of wisdom because you don't want to get bored with the song, but you also do not want it to have the adverse effect and make you feel really bad because the song is just hard. So if you have to choose a simpler song right now, that's fine because this is all about creating confidence, having those skills and being able to lean into the skills that you've built, right? I often joke and say that singing is a lot like playing Jenga because you start out with a tower, you kind of take something away from the voice and it wobbles, right? It always feels like it's like trying to reach for that balance. Then you add something to your voice and it wobbles. So you want to be really tender with yourself and make sure that you're making a good choice that is something that you can achieve. How are you going to know if you can achieve it? How do you know when a song is outside of your realm of ability? Thank you, sweets. Sparkle cup. Husband's always bringing me tea. How do you know if a song is too difficult? What kind of feedback do you get when the song is too difficult for you? I think for me, it's because I feel maybe fear. It's taking way too much of my conscious attention to be able to sing it. So I'm feeling a little anxiety, feeling anxious, feeling squirrely in the song. But how do you know if part of that is still within your realm of ability and just needs to be practiced, or the song is way too hard? Go towards the sensation. Your entire singing is built around sensation. How does it feel? If you can do the song very slowly, then it's within the realm of your ability. But if it feels like your body's freaking out because it's trying to control everything, put the song aside for a while, pick the next not as hard song, slightly more simple song, and build those skills, build that confidence, do that song really, really well. Yeah. The benefit of this is that you'll be able to see progress faster. It's like achievable and measurable are very similar to each other. If you break something down, use your metrics, you'll be able to get those skills faster. Break it down. Okay? Cool. So that's achievable. Our next one is relevant. I like this one a lot. This one is like your why. Why do you want to sing this song? Why is it important to you? So let's say, for example, I have a sister, and let's say that she's asked me to sing the song At Last in her wedding. Well, I love my sister, and I want to give that to her. So that's going to be a big enough why for me to stay committed to the goal. And I actually really love the song At Last. But let's say I was kind of neither here nor there, a little lukewarm about it. Well, because I love my sister and I want to give her what she's asked for, that's going to keep me committed to the goal. That's going to see me through any difficulty that I have with respect to that goal. And it's going to keep me going back, returning for more, because I'm invested in it. So if you're choosing a song, let's say, because maybe you have an audition, maybe like for The Voice, for example, that's a pretty big why. You know, you've got an audition for The Voice, and your audition is in 2 weeks, so you better hop to, get to it. That's going to keep you invested, going to keep you going back, practicing it. But you've heard that term, or you've heard that saying, a good why can surpass any how. Because again, you can break something down into its pieces. This way you don't get overwhelmed, because maybe the song is complicated, but it's still within the realm of your ability, so it's achievable. But a good why is maybe you just want to see what you're made of as a singer. Maybe you can sing this song. You just need to practice it. You just need to break it down. Okay? Sometimes I'll see that a singer doesn't necessarily have a good why. So they'll start with going, I want to sing this song and I want to put it out on YouTube or whatever. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, I just don't care anymore. I'm kind of bored. It's not a good enough why. The song wasn't good enough, or their reason wasn't good enough to have them follow through. So like I said before, the benefit to this is it's going to keep you coming back for more. Have you noticed, as we've gone through each of these steps, have you noticed where maybe a personal goal for yours has kind of fallen through the cracks of one of these? Maybe you weren't specific enough. Maybe we were vague about a goal. We can't reach it if we don't know exactly what the goal is. Then maybe we didn't plan it out really well. We didn't make it measurable. We didn't break it down into parts that kept us returning. Maybe it really wasn't achievable. Maybe we bit off more than we could chew. I am so notorious for that. And then maybe it really wasn't relevant. Our why wasn't strong enough to keep us going. Okay. So our last bit is time bound. So make sure that you've given yourself, and you may have to say to yourself, okay, well, I have a song that I've chosen. I'm going to practice it until I feel good and ready. And then one day I'm going to put it out on YouTube. Is that song ever going out on YouTube? Probably not, because it's not time bound. It's not time bound. It's that one day, that vague one day when my voice is perfect or when I'm happy with it, then I'll put it out into the rest of the world to see. Be kind of a stickler with yourself on this one. Make it time bound. And if you need, let's say, 2 months to polish a good song, maybe it is a good song for you. You've chosen really well. But you need that time to practice the song until it's in your body. Stick to that time. That right there, this whole thing, that's why time bound is the end of the SMART analogy, because that is when you put it out to the rest of the world, or you show up in the world. And once you've done that, you've achieved your goal. You have reached the finish line because you've done it. You've shown up. Now, whatever happens from that point on becomes kind of something else to learn from it. But you've gone through and you've made it specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. You've achieved that goal. You've gone through that process. But you have to give yourself a deadline. You absolutely have to. Otherwise, you're going to be working on the same songs. I have a friend who wrote some songs back in the 90s, and they're great songs. They're really great songs. And maybe he wrote the songs for himself. Maybe they weren't for anybody else. Maybe he just wrote them for himself. But he still hasn't released the songs. And I have a feeling that he feels that there's not that time-bound element to it, so it's that one day when they're perfect. I will tell on myself there. There's a couple of songs that I've written 4 times. I'll just write it over and over and over. Now, to be fair, every time I write it, it's a completely different song. But if I don't give myself that time-bound element to it, it never gets done, or it keeps getting reinvented in perpetuity. But if I know that I have to do something by X day or Y day, then it is done, because I want to be reliable like that. I want to be steady like that. So make sure that you give your song or your vocal goal, whatever it is, something that is bound by time. I will sing this song by blank, right? So that is SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Now, I just want to share this little story real quick.